when school ended, the coach for the basketball team wanted us to like do a running session for about like 15 minutes, and then I guess when it was done, my friends told me I took a water and then I just collapsed, I guess. That's all I remember that day.
A couple of the students and another supervisor just called me over and said, there's something going on with Choie. I have seizure training, first aid CPR being an EA, we have our training. So I went over there and looked at him, and that was the first thing that came to my mind, that he was having a seizure.
I saw a teacher in distress, and the teacher said that a student named Choie was having a seizure, and Choie happens to be one of my students, and I didn't recognize if Choie had any medical history, and I remember saying, you know, we got to call 911 right away.
I called 911, I explained what was going on, and as I was talking to them, Choie stopped. He just stopped breathing and he just went stiff.
When we walked in, we noticed the boy was laying on the floor with his coach, and right away we noticed that he wasn't breathing. We checked for a pulse and started doing CPR.
So the firefighters did CPR and started bagging him. At that point, we put our monitor on and we noted that he was in a VFib rhythm. So we shocked him the one time. I then proceeded to start the IV. CPR was resumed. While I was starting the IV, our medical supervisor arrived on scene, and at that point she took over the airway and started to intubate. We continued on with drugs and shocked Choie, I believe, one more time prior to moving him to the ambulance.
And then once we got him fairly stable and ready to transport, then I went and spoke with his mom, let her know what was going on, and then we took him off to the hospital.
All of a sudden they told me that my son is in critical condition. I can't believe what I hear, but I just told me that. I just told myself that my son will be okay.
I'm not expecting of this kind of phone call, you know. I'm pretty sure that every single parents are not don't want to hear this kind of phone call, but when I received that, it's really I was really terrified of what's going on and confused of what's going on.
Seizures are quite a common call, especially child seizures, more younger, but to turn into a cardiac arrest is more on the rare side, and a little shocking, of course, because it just doesn't happen.
Problems like this don't happen that often with a kid, so we know it's usually pretty serious.
I went to the hospital a couple of times to see him, and he was still, the machines were keeping him alive. And I went back another time, and Choie was sitting up, and he was like, "Hey coach, how's it going?"
I would say that it was pretty close to a miracle that he's with us today, and the paramedics did a wonderful job. I mean, they were tremendous, and the people that were involved that day were just excellent.
And I am so thankful to them that they helped my son.
I would like give each and every one of them a hug and say thank you very much for like helping me.